Hello and welcome to this in-class assignment video. Since I'm going to be out of town, I'm going to go ahead and produce this video for you to give you some help. Hopefully everybody will be able to get 100 on this. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're following along, you should have the file downloaded, and that's step one. So step two says we now want to create a clustered column chart. And so the directions for that, I can bring them up here on the screen for you. And you probably won't be able to see all of those. And so if I scroll down, you can see what some of those are. And I'm just going to assume you've got this open, printed out already, or somewhere where you can see it. And I probably won't be referring back to this very often. I won't show it on the screen, that is. So we're going to select the following cells, A4 through G9. We're going to go to the Insert tab. We're going to do a recommended chart. And it wants us to do a clustered column chart. So that's stack column. And this is clustered column. So we're going to select that. And we'll press OK. And the next step says position the chart so the upper left hand corner is in cell A15. So I'm going to bring this down for you to see. Grab this. And we've got it in that area. Then they want us to drag that to G34. So we're actually just going to build the size here. And that becomes our size of our chart. For the next step, what we want to do is switch the category axis in the legend. So what we're asking for is make this part of the category and make the years the legend. The way you do that is you come up here to the chart tools under the design tab, and you have this icon here. And so what you want to do is click that, switch row and column, but make sure your chart title is, or your chart is selected. So when we do that, you'll notice then we've got the years along the legend, and then the category is the cities. Make sure you don't, if you click it again, watch what happens. Switches back. And so you want to make sure that the legend is your years, otherwise your graph is not going to come out correctly. And you'll be answering questions that won't work properly. The next step is to apply the Style 6 chart and then select the color 12 in the change category. So to do the styles, we click here and we're going to find Style 6. So that's 13, 7, so this must be Style 6. We'll select that. Then if you go to the top up here, you'll notice the change color categories underneath the chart tools and design. So we'll go to change colors, and what we want is color 12. And we finally find that. We'll select it. So now your chart should look similar to the one below. Now we want to apply the gradient accent 1 gradient fill to the chart area. The way to do that is we'll do a right click here. We'll go to format the plot area. And what we're really looking for is the chart area. So we'll do fill. We'll click the gradient fill. And then there's the, scroll over here. There's the preset gradients. So we'll click that. And we're looking for accent 1 light gradient. So we'll click that. And now our chart has a different kind of background. You can see that hopefully on the screen. Now, the 2013 fill color, so we just need to click 1. Notice when I click 1, they're all selected for 2013. I will then, we're on the fill, solid fill, and I'll scroll over to the side so you can see that. And I got to make sure they're still all selected. And we're going to change this to dark blue. And when we come back, you can see what that's done to the chart. We now want to apply a dark border around the legend. So we're on step 8. So what we'll do is we'll click on the legend. Let's double click it. That sends us into the format legend area. We're now going to click on border and expand that. We're going to do solid line, and then we're going to select blue around that. So it's not going to be dark blue, it's just going to be blue. Right, so if you'll notice down here, notice that I click off to the side. I'll move that back over so you can see where I selected blue. Right here. So we've got the blue there. Notice the blue border around the legend. The next step is to change the chart title. So we'll click on chart title. And I'll click in this box here, and we'll type that in. You should see something like this typed in for your chart title. You should now double click on that chart title, and we're going to change this to blue. And I should have everything highlighted. And that'll be the blue. So you should have something like that. I want to go back just for a second and remodify something. When we did the gradient on the, this is the plot area, this should have been for the chart area. So I'm going to click on this area up here. So now it says chart area here. And I want to make sure that we get the gradient fill, and we're going to do that accent 1 light. So now it should be everything. So we may want to go back, and we click on the plot area. We want to take that off. And then you want to just do the automatic, so that way it doesn't look like there's separate sections there. So now it looks like a gradient for the whole chart. Move that back across so you can see that. And we'll scroll down a little bit. All right. So let's move on to the next step. So the next step has us looking at the value axis and changing the display units to millions. And then we need to edit the access title and display a new title of millions of passengers. So we'll click on this so it's selected. Then we'll do a right click and we'll have format axis. So it's up. So we're actually clicked on this little area here. And then we want to set the, scroll over here for you, set the units to millions. Okay. And then we want to add an access title. It should say millions of passengers. So we'll click that. And I'll just type that in. And move that over for you. And so I'm going to click this. And then I'll type in at the top in the box. Notice it's all caps. So you want to make sure you get that. Notice that it's in there now. Moving on to step 11, display data labels above the columns for the 2013 data series. So the data 2013 is the dark blue. So we'll click those. They're all selected now. Then we'll go to here, do data labels. And as you can see, we now have the data labels that match these numbers here for the 2013 series. So we're finished with this chart, so this would be a good time to save. And then we're going to go and create another chart. So we need to scroll up here. And we're going to select the range A5 to A9 and G5 to G9. So we hold down our control there. And we're going to do an insert. And we're creating a clustered bar chart. So there's clustered bar. This is what we're after. We'll click OK. I moved up to the top of the screen. In step 13, we want to move this chart to a sheet named bar chart. So we've got it selected. We're in the chart tools under design. We're going to click this area here, move chart, and then it's going to ask us what do we want to name the new sheet. Name the new sheet bar chart, and we're going to click OK. So that takes us to that sheet. Now we're going to edit the cluster bar chart. We're on step 14, and we're going to put in a new title. That's just like we did the last title, so I'll just pause and go ahead and do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and click there, and so now we have that as our title. So moving on to step 15, apply the style 3 chart to the clustered bar chart. So we'll come over here. I'll move this down so you can see that a little better. Click on these elements here. Go to the style area. We want the third one. So it says style 3 there. We'll click on that. Good. Click off. We now need to format the data point for Atlanta, which is this one, has dark blue. So we're going to click the Atlanta bar. Scroll down here. So you can see that. So now it's selected. I got the handles on. Then we're going to need to double click that. When we do, it's going to say format the data series. But now it's got them all selected again. I just need the Atlanta one. So I'm going to go to the fill color, solid fill, and remember the last fill we used just to make sure that's the dark blue. Come over here to the side and check that. So I think that's it for this chart. So now we're going to step 17. We want to insert some line spark lines in H5 to H9. So it's line spark lines. So we're going to go back to our passenger worksheet. And we want to do those spark lines here. So we'll highlight that. Again, you're looking for spark lines, so that's underneath the Insert tab. And spark line here. So the data range is actually here. And my output range, just to double check, is here. I don't want to overwrite trends. And I'll click OK. Doesn't like that. So, because I had highlighted that first, I'm going to hit that. We'll select a new one. So the data range is B5 to G9. And the location range, I'm just going to specify that again, is this area. So those are our lines. It says show the high point and low point of each spark line. So we're going to come up here over underneath the show group, underneath the spark line tools design tab. So we're going to do the high point, we're going to do the low point. So now we have points here. It wants us to do a marker color. Applied black text 1 color to the high point marker. So we're going to do high point, black text 1, and apply dark red to the low point marker in each spark line. And if you'll notice, that's what we should have here. The black are the highs and the reds are the lows. And then the remaining portion of this is to answer these questions below using your data and your graphs. So if we scroll down, you'll see these questions below. And all you have to do is change the correct answer to do a yellow. And the yellow would be clicking right here. If yours isn't set to yellow, you would need to check. Okay, and so I'll let you answer those. And that is it for going over this. And so hopefully everybody will make 100.